Happened in the 90s.
Next, a special Thursday men behaving badly. And the holiday miracle.
I don't think you need that thing.
No!
You're free, Wally.
Okay, NBC next.
Jimmy Walker was with him when he purchased the gun. J.J. Walker, Mr. Dynamite, and he was rushed to UCLA Medical Center and placed on life support. I guess he had a history of playing Russian roulette.
Do you have to how much darkness do you have to have inside you to be a successful stand-up comedian? You know, is that the requirement? You just have to have this insane darkness inside you.
The best ones do. That's why Kevin Hart made that special Laugh at My Pain, man, because like a lot of those dudes come from dark places, like either trauma from childhood or just being ugly individuals. Because let's face it, our favorite comedians, they were not known for their looks. You know, if Chris Rock wasn't as hilarious as he was, man, he probably wouldn't ever fuck a bitch.
I mean, I think there's a lot of people that get into comedy in order to fuck a bitch. I think if you hear a lot of origin stories for comedians or even them talking about coming up in comedy, there's a lot of guys that do it for that probably. I mean, shit. I would fuck it
for the bush.
A great way. But you know what? I just thought it was hilarious. We talked about video games on our last episode. And I was like, I don't know if I'm ever going to buy a new video game system. And you know what instantly happened after we stopped the episode, Steve? I got really just infatuated with getting a PS5. And now I'm settled on I'm going to get one at some point. So I can't figure it out how to buy one that's not $1,000 online. But I'm going to do it, Steve. I'm doing
immediately.
It. I mean, as soon as possible. I recently got a raise and I just want to spend some money. I don't ever spend any money on anything but weed. And I feel like I just want to treat myself, Steve.
I mean,
3 words for you. Treat yourself. Treat yourself 2011.
I plan on doing it, but not anytime soon, man. The PS4 it's doing its job.
I say this and then I'll probably, because I always, when I'm about to buy like a big ticket item, I have a lot of sticker shock, and no matter what it is, even if I know how expensive it is, I'm like, I don't know if I should do this. And it probably will take a while. You can't find them anyway. So, as far as that goes, it could take a year to get one as it is, but it'll probably take me that long anyway, just to be like, okay, I'm going to spend $600 on this shit.
I mean, the graphics are better. You can tell there's a difference, man. But the PS4, it's already good. The only difference is like, okay, you can see more definition in their sweat on Madden or some shit like that. It's like I don't need to be high def. High def will do.
Yeah, I don't need to see the sweat. I miss that because I'm enraged at how shitty I am at Madden. I don't even see the sweat. I'm like, sweat. Why can't I fucking get a first down with the Steelers? Why the fuck will I continually lose to, whoever?
Because your quarterback's Mason Rudolph.
Well, now I'm not going to play Madden until we get a new quarterback. But just the shock, Steve, pivoting just to NFL now, the shock that the Bengals actually made it to the Super Bowl. And as much as I don't want them to win, I like the quarterback.
Burrow.
I like Burrow. Dude, he was wearing like a rock. Remember that outfit? There's like a picture of the Rock with like a black turtleneck, a chain, and like a fanny pack.
Yeah.
Joe Burrow was rocking that, looking like a fucking like a G at some press conference. I was like, this guy fucking gets it. So
on some color me bad shit.
But I hope LA wins secretly. And also for you, just so, bless you from the Steelers, it sounds like Juju Smith-Schuster is going to be on your team next year. So,
Juju Schuster Smith and Associates at law.
He's a beast, dude. That guy's a straight up beast.
I was told that we're losing Amari Cooper. So, I mean, we do need a replacement, man. Like these projects can't last forever. So like while Dak is in his 20s and Zeke and all of that, dude, like we got to get to the bowl, not just make it to the playoffs. Like you got to win the bowl. The Cowboys, like our biggest criticism is like we haven't been great since Emmett and Irvin and Aikman and Nate Newton and all of that, man. So, dude, let's shut the haters up.
And if not, I mean, you only got so much time till Jerry can't pay to stay alive anymore. So, at some point, you can't disappoint the chairman of the board.
Well, yeah, he's going to pass it on to his son, Steve, though.
Stephen Jones.
Stephen Jones.
But I mean, you got to win one for Jerry, It's like the Raiders never won another one for Al Davis. And I'm sure he went up into heaven with that weird, like, no, wait, he didn't have the weird haircut. He was just like,
he kind of did.
He did a little bit.
Yeah.
Remember that guy for the Raiders that did have that weird haircut?
The fucking
Friar Tuck.
Yeah.
Nip CEO Tuck. Friar Tuck of the Raiders. I mean,
Friar Nip Tuck.
Yeah, it's going to be rough for me. I love the Steelers. I have faith that they won't suck ass as long as they did between Terry Bradshaw and Ben Roethlisberger, but it's tough, man. We don't got a good quarterback. We got a lot of other good pieces, but I just feel like it's hard to get that right, and they haven't been very good at doing that. They did it once really well, and it worked out pretty well, but I don't know.
I gotta say, I do like your coach, Mike Tomlin. He is. I call him a pioneer. There's been black coaches before him, but I mean, he's the current black coach that is like
he's the only black coach, Steve.
Currently, yes. And he's the only current coach that has had a winning season, his whole stint with the team. So
yep. I think that's the only reason he's still employed, because a lot of their dudes, Steeler Nation there's like hatred for that guy for whatever reason, but I'm like, that guy's a stud.
If I was a betting man, I think I know one reason.
Race?
And even if I wasn't a betting man, I'd probably put it on that.
Yeah. I mean, that's unfortunate, but it's Midwest. It's, that type of person. But I love Mike Tomlin, and he's got us 2 fucking rings. So you can say what you will. One of them maybe was a Bill Cowher handover ring, but he still got one himself, and he's still there. So,
well, he was on the staff when Cowher won that one with Bettis and all those guys?
No, I think he
because that was Bill Cowher's last year. So
you're right. He won one then. So he got that one. But yeah, I don't know, man. It's been tough to be like anyway, because like football, if you don't make it to the Super Bowl, like even if you make it to the playoffs, that ain't shit. If like you go out in the first round of the playoffs, it's just as bad as not getting to the playoffs. So they've not been good like that for a while. I hope they get better. But man, it's been fucking tough. And it's so weird to see. I mean, even the Browns looked like they were going to be good, but like the Bengals actually didn't bungle it. They, for once, did not do that. And at least they made it there. That's fucking nuts.
And the Rams, I do like OBJYN. And it's a perfect example of like leaving a situation and flourishing and being able to show off your real talent, man, because he couldn't thrive with Baxter Mayberry and even with his buddy on the other side, man. But and it's also with Stafford, man. He survived Detroit, and it's hard to be successful in Detroit. Just ask Barry Sanders and Megatron. But the fact that he survived that, he's still playing as a quarterback. I wouldn't be mad if either team win.
Yeah, for real. Honestly, I mean, it's only because the Steelers are in the AFC North. I mean, technically, I guess I should root for the Bengals just because it's like, oh yeah, we're in a division with the Super Bowl champ. But just, I don't know. We all know a couple of Cincy fans and just like Browns fans.
Just suffered long enough, though.
Yeah, you're right. But fuck Collinsworth. That's the only Bengal I'm not giving any love to. I don't like Chris Collinsworth.
It seems like not a lot of people do. Yeah.
He looks like a human ass.
And man, I missed an opportunity last week when we were talking about Marge. I said she looked like King Harley Race when I should have said she looks like King Harley Racist. Oh man, like it's like in Scrabble when you got that cue and you figured out like, oh man, I'm gonna use this cue, and then right after your turn, you're like, oh shit, I could have got a triple score if I use these extra tiles.
It's hard when you're in the pocket, Steve. You just want to like put some gold out, and you can't stay in there long enough. So, I mean, it would have been great, but it's still great.
She'll pop up again for being suspended for something racist. I'm positive.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Marge Shot.
And you said she had a mouth of a butthole. Oh, I said that.
Yeah. I said Chris Collinsworth looks like a human butthole, and he is. But, shout out to the Bengals. Go for it.
Little Richard is back with his biggest hit.
McDonald's service cheeseburgers are just 88 with the deal is good. Don't be late. McDonald's service cheeseburgers are just 88, only 88 cents. They taste so great.
Roll into Mickey D's for 88-cent double cheeseburgers. And for breakfast, sausage McMuffin with egg sandwiches are also 88 cents each.
When McDonald's service cheeseburgers are just 88, now it's time for me to say, have you had your break today? Woo!
Well, boys and girls, this is Are You Afraid of the Dick with Steve the Sleeve and Matt Hucklebuck. No, actually, this is happened in the 90s, a show where we talk about things that happened in the 90s. So get out your Charles Barkley jerseys and your Butterfinger BBs because Billy passed the third grade. Oh, what a glorious day.
Pass in the third grade, the Billy Madison way.
It's 1A and 1B. It's either that or Waterboy. And I know you're a wedding singer person.
Or Big Daddy. Dude, the hits keep coming with Sandler in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
There's no... We tried to go head to head on it. You said Jim Carrey. I said Adam Sandler. And I gotta stick by it because if you look at the catalog, Steve, it speaks for itself.
It does, man. You have a strong argument. But Truman Show, was that 2000s or 90s?
No, that was 90s. That was for sure 90s. Oh yeah.
I know Cable Guy was 90s, and that was he's still Jim Carrey-ish, but it was a change of pace because it had a dark side to it.
Yeah, that's one thing people don't like. Maybe it's why it was never one of my favorites, but that movie definitely, it's got some weird shit in it. It's just like a very bizarre comedy that came out.
And I think Jack Black was in it.
Oh yeah, he's he's Matthew Broderick's friend, who I think is like a cop. Mm-hmm. And it's skinny Jack Black. It's that skinny 90s second tier actor Jack Black, where he'll just show up as like a scumbag in an action movie or this guy in a comedy, and you just is like, oh wait, is that fucking Jack Black? Looking anorexic.
Records. Yeah.
He was in a movie called The Jackal with I believe it was Richard Gere and I think Bruce Willis. And Bruce Willis plays like some kind of like high-end assassin type dude, and there's a point in the movie where Jack Black's like helping him, and Bruce Willis has like this robotic sniper rifle thing, and Jack Black is very skinny and he's like holding some like target for Bruce Willis, and Bruce Willis like blasts his hand off. And I always just remember seeing that, and then later on when I got into like Tenacious D being like, wait, was that fucking Jack Black in that movie? And sure enough it was. So he was working, dude. That guy's been fucking actually a working actor for a while, but it took a while for him to pop off.
But he stayed at it, man. Today we're going to be talking about all things February 10th in the 90s. Starting off 1990, SNL is airing the season 15 episode with musical guests Tevin Campbell, Kool Mo D, Big Daddy Kane, Take Six, Quincy D3, Al Jarreau, Andre Crouch, Sandra Crouch, Sita Garrett, with host Quincy Jones. All of those people perform. And if you watch the original airing of this, Don Pardo mispronounced a couple of the musical guests. He called Melly Mel Melanie Mel. He pronounced Quincy D3 as Quincy D the third, and Quincy D is obviously Quincy Jones' son. So they had him redo those takes. Quincy Jones was nominated and he won the best rap album of the Grammys for this. And the same guy that did Thriller, that made the Sanford and Son theme song and a lot of like jazz and shit. That's where they were with rap in America in the early 90s.
Quincy, legendary name, successful king of music, but hearing the rap thing, I don't know if I necessarily attribute that to his name. So,
well, he had a lot of rappers.
Like him, I'm sorry, but like him being also like a guest on SNL seems kind of strange as well. But I mean, hey, he was that big.
I mean, yeah, he's a big deal, and it was because of the rappers that he had featured on there. It's called Back to the Block. That was the name of the album. And my favorite song on there is actually an R&B song with Barry White. It's called Secret Garden, and it's got El DeBarge, Sita Garrett, and it's really jazzy, man.
Damn, El DeBarge and Barry White on the same song? High and low? That's dope.
And Al B. Shore. And the musical guests, they had so many that it was a two-parter. This is just one of the screens that they showed, man. Because he rattled off about 12 different names.
Fucking Don Pardo was out of breath by the time he finished that list. God damn it.
In the monologue, he basically celebrated Nelson Mandela's freedom. He had just got released from prison around this time, man. And he did like this whole chorus using the SNL band. And he also it was kind of like an orchestra, basically. And that was basically his monologue, man. But Bob Waltman, that was one of the skits that stood out. And he's an interviewer played by Kevin Nealon. And he's interviewing Leona Helmsley, played by Nora Dunn, Marion Barry, played by Quincy Jones, and Tammy Faye Baker, played by Jan Hooks. And after every one of his interviews, he looks into the camera and he gives this like shit-eating grin because he's trying to make each of them cry.
Oh, Kevin Nealon's the shit, dude.
But yeah, man, in 1991, the 41st NBA All-Star Game is held at Charlotte Coliseum in Charlotte, North Carolina. East beat the West 116-114. And Charles Barkley of the Philadelphia 76ers is the MVP.
GOAT. Not GOAT, but dope player.
He's the GOAT of something.
Maybe shit talking or just being a badass. I mean, I'd love seeing a slim Charles Barkley though.
Yeah.
90s Charles when he's still watching the Carbs and stuff a little bit.
And like I remember having this card, his All-Star MVP card, man. I think it was in heavy rotation back then.
God, I remember some of those 90s All-Star jerseys too. You just wanted to get your hands on those because there was a couple of flashy designs on those.
I want one of these, either the Barkley or the Jordan or the Pippen. But this was the first NBA All-Star game broadcast by NBC after 17 years with CBS. And this kind of kicked off the NBA on NBC with the John Tesh theme song.
Wait, was that it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Dude, look at God. Just the ugliness of some of these athletes back. Like Larry Bird, how old is this guy? He looks like he's 50 years old. The dude's probably like in his 20s.
In his prime. But look at this lineup, man.
Damn, dude. Remember when I used to have this tape, dude, and it was like highlights of the dunk contest that they used to do when it was like they would use the stars, like Dominique Wilkins, Spud Webb, fucking Michael Jordan and shit. And just the All-Star game especially for basketball, used to be a real fucking thing. It's something you actually wanted to watch. More so than what we were talking about last week about the Pro Bowl for football. It's like that shit don't mean nothing. But this maybe because I was a kid, Man, I used to love this shit. Definitely did watch this.
And the West could have won, but Kevin Johnson's potential game-winning three-pointer was nullified by a basket interference call on Karl Malone. And speaking of the dunk contest, this is the year D. Brown won with his no-look dunk.
Oh shit!
Yeah, pretty basic.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not that impressed, especially now that you've seen people like jump over cars and do all the crazy shit. But dude, we got spoiled by Vince Carter. I feel like Vince Carter, there was like 3 years where he was just doing the insanity dunks, and it was just never before seen shit.
Probably my favorite dunk contest, and it's been so advanced now, man. Like the year after this, Cedric Ceballos won for putting on a blindfold and dunking. Yeah, that really happened, man. And Craig Hodges was the three-point champion, former Chicago Bull and champion, along with Pippen, Jordan, and Grant. But that following year, 1992, Mike Tyson is convicted of raping Desiree Washington in Indiana. We've covered this before, and now, I mean, they're basically giving him his sentence. He would later be released in 95, summer of 95.
Dark times for Mike Tyson.
But yeah.
This maybe will pick your company better, bitch.
Yeah, in both directions. But on that same day, in 1982, Alex Haley, American soldier, journalist, and author, born in 1921, passes away. He was an American writer and the author of the 1976 book Roots: The Saga of an American Family. That was obviously before our time, but you know, it had a lot of blockbuster names on it. Of course, LeVar Burton, he played Kunta Kinte. He was the star of the movie. And it was a big deal because it dragged out for like the whole week.
I mean, the tape set for it was like 6 tapes.
Yeah.
It was insane. Yeah. Damn. How old was this dude?
Born in 1921 and passed away in 1992. So he was 80 or 71. And he was also the co-author of the autobiography of Malcolm X.
Damn, prolific.
But yeah, man, that following year, 1993, Oprah Winfrey interviews Michael Jackson during a U.S. television primetime special. It becomes one of the most watched interviews in television history and is Jackson's first in 14 years.
I'm sure it was weird.
It was very weird. It's actually the most viewed interview in history. And you know, the thing about Oprah is she plays the fence, and she's skinning and grinning in Mike's face in 93. But years after the man passes away, she brings on his accusers, which I didn't like, man. It's like, you know, when the man was alive, you were all buddy and hee hee ha ha. But there's no telling how much corporate involvement was had during that.
Well, I think what you said, this was in 93.
Yeah.
I mean, that's still high jock riding time for Mike Jackson, for anybody. You wish that, I mean, there were allegations and rumors talking about his weirdness, and obviously visually everybody was making fun of that part of it, how much he like changed himself, but people were still jock riding him it wasn't like now where the dudes, other than his music still being widely played everywhere, the dudes, I mean, everybody thinks he's a fucking jerk off, weirdo, monster, you know, name whatever negative adjective you want to use.
I don't. Maybe I'm on a lonely. I know I'm not on a lonely. Maybe that's what you think, Mac.
I mean, I watched the documentary, and if what they said was true, and I mean, to me, if there's that much smoke, there's got to be some kind of fire to it. Maybe not. Maybe there is a conspiracy. I don't think so, but I think the guy's weird simply for the fact that just what he did to himself. Even if you take any of like allegations we don't know are true out, you know how he changed himself. And anybody that's doing that's clearly a weirdo and something wrong with him.
There's definitely something wrong because that shit was weird. And also he grew up, he was always a superstar, like since the age of 9, 10. So the fact that everyone in the world knows who you are, has always known since you were a kid, man, it's got to do something to you. Like there's no privacy.
Yeah. So, I mean, but as far as the allegations go, maybe you don't believe him? I watched all that. I've heard all that. And I think he probably was doing some crazy fucked up shit. So but I distrust most rich people. Anybody that's that rich is into some kind of dirt because they're doing shit you can't afford. And this dude was doing a lot of like the guy was just crazy, Steve. Like he was getting put medically to sleep every fucking night. So I mean, the demons in the closet must have been loud and plentiful.
Putting babies in ovens and baiting them in the pizzas and shit, man.
Yeah, dude. I mean, we all know he's eating baby blood and all that shit.
Fucking baby eater.
Satanic rituals.
In 1995, Billy Madison is released in theaters. In order to inherit his fed-up father's hotel empire, an immature and lazy man must repeat grades 1 through 12 all over again, somewhat similar to Donald Trump's story. Now, this movie has so many quotables, man. And I do want to say Juanita, the maid, the crazy maid that just is all over Adam Sandler's dick, is played by Teresa Merritt, and she starred in a black sitcom back in the day called That's My Mama.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, and the producers of the movie of Ghost, they actually wanted her to play Whoopi Goldberg's role initially. Yeah,
I could see that. I could definitely see that, but she's funny as fuck at this. She's a little pervert. There's this like, so like to me, what this movie was, there were so many great things about this. This was Adam Sandler's first actual film role that he was like the headliner for. I think he did a movie called Overboard that's not as well known, and you know,
no,
but
I remember that. No.
Yeah, but he did this, and one, the story ridiculous, completely 90s comedy. Insane. A guy is so rich he lets his idiot son go through each grade of school for a week, I believe, in order to graduate and take over the company. But Chris Farley's in it. The weird psycho evil guy, that dude's great in this. The revolting blob's great in this. All the weird, like the penguin thing at the beginning. I see what's happening here. Like, just
makes no sense.
But one of the I've seen this movie dozens and dozens of times, and there is Norm Macdonald's in this. God rest in peace. I mean, that guy is legendary in this. But there is one scene that no matter what, I can never not laugh at, and it's a very small scene, but like every time Billy Madison graduates, he has a party, and at one of the parties, he has like this fat buddy that's one of his just like loser friends. And he's like, walks down to him, and the guy has like a hose, and he's just like hosing this little kid off like for no reason. The kid's like, why are you doing this? And it's so stupid, but it was so fucking funny, dude. I love this movie so much. And Veronica Vaughn, dude, so fucking hot. Whoever that chick is, wow.
Sonya Blade, man, Miss Pete Sampras, and
what?
Yeah, that's his wife. When they put the flaming poop on the old man's doorstep, and Norm Macdonald was like, "This is the greatest night of my life." Like, just that right there is fucking hilarious because it shows that like this is a pathetic man, kind of like my soon-to-be ex-roommate.
That is correct.
Yeah. If you're going to stay home today, you can help me shave my armpits.
And also at the end, like the final like debate thing they do, and Billy Madison gives like this insane like diatribe about a book. And after he's done, it's like this 5-minute thing, and you think he's done like this amazing job. And then this judge guy's like, what you said is one of the dumbest things I've ever heard in my entire life. I award you no points. And may God have mercy or something like that. It's just so fucking funny, dude.
At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points.
Nearby rule!
Who would you rather bone, Meg Ryan or Jack Nicholson? He's like, Jack Nicholson now or 1974? He says 74, and he has to think about it. He's like, Meg Ryan.
That Veronica Vaughn is one hot piece of ace. You know, me and her. No, you didn't.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, but I wouldn't. No, you wouldn't.
Yeah. Everybody on the bus, great, good, grand. Charles Bronson was initially supposed to be Billy's father, and he turned it down.
What a weird movie that would have been then. I think it's like, to me, maybe it's because it's nostalgic and I just remember a lot like watching it and laughing with my friends, but it's one of those like comedies where even it's so dumb, but it holds up somehow. There's no like loss of quality, even though it's like so old and so very bizarre in 90s.
And Adam was still on SNL, man. This is his final season, and I think him, maybe Will Ferrell. There's like a handful of people who were like in a movie while they were still on that show.
Didn't Farley do Tommy Boy while they were still on that show?
He did.
Yeah.
That was his final year, because that was 95.
This was such a big thing. Like, this is when they were starting to not just make, they would have like the Pat movie. It would be like a movie, but it would just be the skit in a longer form. And this is when they were just like, oh, you're an SNL star, just do some crazy shit. Don't do your SNL shit. Do something better. And I mean, dude, Sandler was just killing this shit. And the CDs, all of it. And now he has a production company. He doesn't even have to, he's not even in the movies. He's making money just off of his friends and stuff. Like Grandma's Boy, we got to see that because of him and his company, stuff like that. I mean, dude's a fucking baller, dude.
The Cobbler, we could have done without, though.
I didn't see that one. But dude, even like I'm gonna get flack from somebody that listens to this probably, but like Spanglish, I can watch that. It's not a terrible movie. It's a romance movie, but as far as like acting goes, he ain't the worst part of it. It's just weird for us. It's weird to see him doing anything but Billy Madison.
Right.
It's just hard. But I mean, did you see Uncut Gems?
I still haven't, but I need to.
That one. I mean, if you didn't think he was a good dramatic actor, watch that shit. It's a lot of how they directed it, but dude, that movie is fucking good. That movie's fucked up.
And just one more thing about the movie. The guy who played Carl, Larry Hankin, he was not even a fan of the film. He actually hated it because he thought that Adam Sandler was obnoxious throughout the recording of this. And one of his friends got kicked off the set. He said that his friend was actually fired from the movie while this was going on. So that's another fun fact. Also, Steve Buscemi's part in this, where he calls Steve Buscemi and he's like putting on lipstick and stuff. Very hilarious. And the people that he crossed off, there was Adam Sandler and people from the film crew of the movie. Oh yeah. the other names, yeah. But on February 10, 1996, Walker, Texas Ranger is airing the episode The Juggernaut. Alex helps an abused wife at a mountain retreat of her women's support group to see that her violent husband can never change. But when he tracks her down to the retreat's location, it places all of them in danger. This is fucking wild. Yeah, dude, there's nothing left to say. Let's get right into it. But this is one of probably the top 10 most craziest episodes of dramatic TV I've ever seen. Oh man. We start off at the bar and they're having a debate about race car driving. And I mean, that's how you know we're in fucking trash territory. No, man, Dale. No, Al Unser. No, man, fucking Richard Petty. No, they all fucking turn left. Shut the fuck up. But as one of the cowboy dudes get out of the bar, he kind of like tips his hat and, says hi to Alex in passing. And no, Connie is her name. Yeah. And Brad has a fucking snit of a fit. He fucking just goes to blows with dude and has his flunkies jump him. What a possessive son of a bitch. Yeah, the guy tips his hat. I mean, he's a Southern gentleman. They're in Austin. Just for clarification, I looked this up. This show is actually set in Austin, Texas, I believe. So they're in just some shit kicker bar in Austin. And Brad and Connie, they're married. And Brad doesn't take kindly, like you said, to this guy just tipping his fucking hat. And I mean, goddamn, is it a reaction? And he's got a gang of wife beaters in training that are willing to just put their lives on the line to help Brad and his wife beating agenda. So they whoop that dude's ass.
And then we just cut to outside of a trailer. So again, we're in some trash territory here. Brad, pretty furious. The temper has not gone down at all. And then we cut inside the trailer, and Connie is frantically calling 911. And she does reach them, but man, it's not in time, Steve.
Yeah, it's just going to get worse now because I'm going to beat you while you're on the phone with the police. Like this man,
having an audience that gets me hard, bitch. I'm gonna really lay into you. Like he fucking whoops this chick's ass on the phone. The you can hear the frantic 911 operator, but Brad has no qualms about putting his hands on a woman, his wife, anybody, by the looks of how enraged he is. And man, he puts a beating on her, Steve.
You hit my sister like she was a fucking man. Like, don't say hi to women in Austin. If they're not your girlfriend or wife, do
not tip of a hat. You think that's just like, that's just a hello. But apparently in this Brad's mind, you just fucked his wife.
In front of him.
Yeah.
He is not a cuckold.
No. So that happens. Then we cut into the actual police precinct, and Walker's talking to Alex and Jimmy. And here comes Brad. He got arrested, Steve. They did make it, but it doesn't appear they made it in time because the cop with Brad who's escorting him to the jail is like, yeah, he really put it on her. So Walker sees this, but while they're getting Brad up the stairs, Brad, Terminator wife beater, Steve. I'm going to keep saying that. This guy is the Terminator of wife beaters. He cracks a cop. The cop falls down the stairs, breaks his wrist, I believe, and leaves Walker to, finish the job. Like he has to clean it up. But it's clear to everybody, and especially Alex, the female, I believe she's a lawyer or district attorney or something, that Brad Fullerton or whatever you said his last name is a menace. Apparently this isn't the first time he's beat somebody, woman, and this ain't going to be the last time unless somebody does something about it. So Walker takes him to jail. But I mean, Brad's already, he's already added to the time. He assaulted a cop. So that's fucking crazy.
I mean, can we really call this weak motherfucker a cop though? I mean, like the fact that a dude in handcuffs, both hands cuffed, and he knocks your ass down, like how weak, and you broke a wrist, man, just like turn in your badge.
Yeah, he looked like Buddy from Charles in Charge, like if he had no fucking testosterone, He's like, oh, Walker. But, again, Brad's a different level of wife beater. This guy has some sort of insane Mickey Mantle wife beating gene where there's nothing that's going to stop this guy.
Yeah, he's the final boss of wife beaters.
And,
and then so Walker, he challenged him. He's like, yeah, just you and me without the cuss. Is that what you want? Now what? That's what I thought.
Yeah, Brad bitches out because Walker takes them, and he bitches out. Like, first of all, what I like, visually where they take Brad, it looks like a summer camp for convicts. It doesn't look like a jail. It's just a bunch of cots in this giant precinct building. So maybe it's like a holding area or whatever. But Brad bitches out in front of all these other people in the cell. Like, so I feel like he's lost a lot of respect. Walker bitched him out, and that's only adding to the rage inside Brad. It's building up, Steve. He's TNT, Steve. He's ready to blow.
Well, wife beaters and rapists, child rapists especially, they're like fish when they go in there. So, I mean, he's already got a target on his back. But he gets out, though. One of his flunkies bailed him out. I don't know what the fuck he's doing to these dudes that they're so loyal to him. This piece of shit, Brad Fulmer.
Yeah, he's got two homies that are down for anything. Like, these guys are straight up 100%. They're like, if you murder somebody, Brad, call me. Like, it's cool. Like, there's nothing that's going to happen. That's that type of friendship. So who knows? Maybe they're just in a wife beating club. It's super, they're super cool to each other. I don't know. But we cut to the hospital now. Brad's in jail. Connie's laid up, and looking at her in the hospital bed, she looks like she just fought fucking in a UFC fight. She's looking pretty rough. Brad did some
battered
damage.
and fried.
Deep fried to a crisp. That fucking cheek looked like fucking a Wolverine, just fucking clawed. Like, was Brad fucking scratching too? Is he doing that?
She fought a puma, man. But Judge Fowler, the designated Judge Judy of this episode, she's not for the bullshit, because Connie has came through this courthouse a couple of times, and each time she dropped the charges on this piece of shit. And she's like, you know what? I can't give a fuck. I'm all out of fucks to give. Fuck, two fuck, red fuck, blue fuck. I can't. Get the fuck out of my courthouse.
I get if somebody's cried wolf, Steve. I understand where, like, basically her argument is, you come in here, you've wasted my time many times, and you never filed charges on this guy. But I mean, Judge Judy-ish lady, the woman looks like straight up Chuck Liddell beat the living shit out of her. This is like clear there's something going on here. So she won't do a restraining order. Brad's gonna get locked up for, I guess, assaulting a cop, maybe. But this judge, I mean, God, she is not one to give any fucks about. She doesn't care about you or your problems. She's got rapists, murderers. Apparently, Austin's really rough at this point. So
she has oatmeal boxes to pose on.
Yeah, so the shit's going down, Steve. And Connie, apparently the law ain't gonna help her. She's got to heal. Brad, he's gonna get out, and I mean, who knows? We don't know what's gonna happen, but it's gonna be fucking crazy.
Yeah, Brad might be the new Billy for me. Like, motherfucker's name Brad. I don't have a good history with Brads.
I don't either. I don't like a Brad. Scumbag. I've never met a Brad this scummy, but I mean, this is like ultra Brad. So, but what's going on now is, Connie, she's not going to file charges or can or whatever, but Alex, the DA lady that Walker knows, she actually has like this group for battered women, and they're going to take Connie and they're going to take her to like this retreat out in the woods with all these other battered women and go try to heal. Not physically, because she's gotten fucked to the point where that might not be possible, but maybe inside, Steve. Yeah,
by sharing stories. One lady said that he just started swinging and I started walking. And this was after 2 years. She was just trapped in this relationship, like I'm sure all of these women were. And C.D. Parker says, what you ladies are doing are much more important than camp. Because I guess Connie, she comes in there saying like, oh, I wish I would have brought my tent. No, like, no, this ain't about all that shit. We ain't making s'mores and all that. No, like, you're supposed to relate to each other and get past this trauma.
Yeah, that's one other thing. Like, Alex is taking these women, and Connie's obviously like a special case. So she gets Jimmy, Walker's buddy, that's like a sheriff also, or ranger or whatever, and sure, CD, the local boss hog dude that owns a bar and for some reason is involved in everything that Walker does, to go to this retreat. So CD, he does get some alone time with Connie. And he's like, trying to make her sort of open up. And he tells her about a girl that he saw come through this exact thing previously. And he's like, I know it's hard to hear, but this girl got beat on. She was going to go to college. Her boyfriend was this older dude that was manipulating her and doing this and like trying to make her not go. And eventually she learned, and she's now a counselor and, out of that situation. That's a happy ending that I want for you, basically. So Connie, they're breaking down the walls, Steve. They're Chris Jerichoing her emotions and breaking those walls down, Steve. So, but she's not there yet.
Not yet, because in comes Brad. He's looking for his damn wife.
Yeah, this is where it's gone to. He's gotten out, and he called Connie, because apparently a wife beater beats on a chick, and then he's angry when he calls the next day, and she's not ready to pick him up from jail for beating her. Where is this bitch? Oh, I had to listen to my neighbor tell me how she fucking went off with that Alex bitch. This fucking stupid bitch. There's a lot of that. It's a lot of that kind of energy.
He's going to kill them both.
He's back at 10 again, Steve. It takes absolutely nothing to get Brad from 0 to 10.
Shit, he's on 11.
Yeah, dude.
And like we cut to some random ass karate tournament that has no relation to the main plot of this episode. Now that that's over, we're back to Trevette and CD, and only time they feel like a man, they said, is when they're beating the hell out of a woman. And that's the ideology that Brad subscribes to. And a lot of pieces of shit like Brad. Now, Connie talks to a woman with pyro wet dreams. She thinks about setting the motherfucker on fire, as she should have.
Yeah, I mean, she was getting beat on, and she said she like blacked out one night, woke up, and she had covered her husband in gasoline, and she was holding a match. So a lot of trauma going on. And one thing that they're doing as part of this is they're putting Jimmy into what I think is like a dog attack suit for cops in order for these women to basically use him as a human punching bag. Because, you know, it's one thing to sort of talk out your problems, but if somebody comes and wants to fucking like put hands on you, put some paws on you, you got to have a plan of action. So they just start like doing like some shitty punches. And I got to be honest, Steve, like they sort of go through a little montage showing these girls like getting a little bit more power and like figuring out how to punch. But watching the footage, if they were involved in an altercation, like if and when Brad shows up, the things they're learning will do nothing to help them.
And we cut back to Walker, and he's talking to the rinky-dink Paul Blart cop, and he's like, Brad wants his woman back, and he found out that he got bailed out. So he confronts his little flunky guy at the bar. He's like, you know where Brad Purnell is? He's like, why do you think I know? Well, because you're the motherfucker that put money on his bond. And like, really, Walker wasn't even provoked. He just went straight to it. Like, nobody flinched at him. I noticed nobody threw a kick. He was just like, man, you know what? Today I got time, cuz. So he started roundhouse kicking motherfuckers and strangling them with pool cues.
Well, they were about to whoop his ass, Steve, because that guy was like, hey, guys, Walker here wants to know where Brad's at. Fuck you. And then like two other guys come with pool cues, which again, Brad, what are you doing to these guys that they're so willing to just, I mean, this is a charge. You've now assaulted an officer of the law, or we're going to. So what's in the sauce Brad's feeding these guys?
Or what the Kool-Aid.
God damn, everybody see how fucking cool Brad was when he was whooping that chick's ass. I mean, that right cross he laid on Connie last night. I mean, god damn, that guy is fucking cool.
Man, you see that Honeymooners rerun last night? I did too. that's
I just watched the first 5 minutes of fucking Unnecessary Roughness over and over again, just fucking until I come. Anywho, so Walker figures out that Brad, he's on the move. Brad doesn't give any fucks. So now he knows where the fuck Connie's at. Connie is not cooking him a hot meal. Connie is not doing the dishes. She is out in the woods fucking with these other broads,
sparring.
And he's gonna go get his payback, because I mean, at this point the 11's gone to a 20, and Brad's just a psychotic rage of wife beating energy at this point. It's insane, man.
And Trevette, when they're kicking at him, he's like, just think of your ex. And the one girl, she does like one swift kick and knocks him on his ass in that Michelin Man outfit that he had on. But Brad pops up and he's just like, I want to talk to you with my knife on me. And so
he doesn't see, dude, like he tries to play. Brad tries to like suppress the rage and be like, sorry, hon. You're right. I was crazy, but I'm nervous in front of people. So can we go talk by ourselves? And at this point, they allow this. Everybody involved. Hey, Alex. Hey, Jimmy. Hey, CD. Stop this now. Don't allow, and you better be following him, because you know what Brad's about to be doing. You know how Brad do.
Yeah, he's putting on an act, man.
Yeah, dude.
And he's like, yeah, you want to throw away 5 good years just because I screwed up a little. You mean, a couple cross jabs and uppercuts, but 5 years, take all that stuff out, 5 years of some good times. So I mean,
what's a couple of stitches, bitch? Like, come on. We had some good times. Remember the 5 minutes before I started whooping your ass all the time? Those are good times.
You remember? Yeah, she don't remember. You knocked all of that out of her too.
Oh, CTE, yeah.
Yeah, but Walker, he hops in the chopper because he's trying to get the drop on Brad, and he says, "I'll never do it again. Give me a little kiss." Like, dude, you and your receding hairline, get the fuck out of here. She just tells him, "I want a divorce."
Yeah,
you're gonna do what I tell you to do. I could just snap your neck. He shoots a wrestling promo on her. I could just snap your neck and think nothing of it.
You know something, bitch.
Yeah.
So he doesn't take the divorce word well. You know, I don't really see Brad taking any bad news that well, but it seems like the word divorce really initiates that Kill Bill alarm that and he starts seeing red. But thank God somebody heard my cries, and Jimmy comes out of the bushes right before, as Brad's choking a bitch, and he lays down his little Walker-esque beat down on Brad. But Brad again just pulls a bitch move. He gets his ass whooped, and then he runs away.
But within like 2 seconds, the motherfucker returns in his SUV. It's like, damn, like, where was that car? Was it hiding behind the tree?
Yeah, Jimmy, you didn't see the fucking SUV parked right by where you were hiding to confront this dude? And this, Steve, right here is where this episode and mimics Brad's rage level and goes from a 10 to a 20, because this is where it gets real fucking exciting.
He's trying to run Trevette over, CD and his Cutlass Cadillac Supreme, whatever the fuck. He's trying to hit Connie. The motherfucker ends up running into a house.
He tries to run he runs CD over, but thank God CD had his fucking Chevelle or whatever the fuck that thing was. He jumped in that when he was trying to get the strap, but Brad nearly kills everybody with his Ford Bronco or whatever it is. Kills the cabin that they're staying in, and then all the women gather together and run off into the woods while Brad collects himself and becomes Jason and starts stalking these bitches as like the psycho killer that he really is.
Like, somehow, what I didn't get to, man, why is Connie by herself? Y'all know this motherfucker is out here. How did she just get abandoned? I guess because the girls ran away from the big ass.
Well,
truck.
what happened was they all go away, right? So they run into the forest. All this is happening. Brad is after them. CD and Jimmy are left at the cabin because CD's got fucked up, or he gets run over by a car, Steven. It seems like his only reaction is to be a little out of it. He seems like drunk almost. So right when everybody's that's all happening, Walker comes in the chopper because he's got it like that. He lands, he sees CD and Jimmy are okay, and then he pursues Brad and the women. And so now the women are running, and like every good horror movie, Connie has to trip. She has to break her ankle or injure herself. And that's when they separate. So Brad is like, Connie, where the fuck are you, bitch? Just like taunting these people, terrifying them. She hurts herself. She realized, she's like, ladies, we all have to come together. And Alex is sort of like echoing this. And you're right. It seems like they abandoned Connie. Brad sees her, but right before he's about to he's like, oh, you're sorry, bitch. Oh, that even enrages me even more when your fucking bitch apologizes to me. So right as he's about to like cut her face off, all the women just start whooping his ass.
Like, one of the girls hits him with like a branch or some shit.
He takes a fucking like one of those, what is those like he takes one like an epic ass whooping from these chicks. If you've ever seen Death Proof, the movie, the Tarantino horror movie, I don't know if you ever saw that. At the end of that, Kurt Russell's like the villain in that, and these chicks just start beating his ass to death. And that's basically what happens. All these women, Brad's there terrorizing them. A bitch hits him in the face. A bitch hits him, with a branch. He clocks a couple chicks. Like, they're not afraid to show women getting brutalized in this. And Brad's not afraid to hit a woman. So, they're taking punishment, but eventually 6 women overrun Brad. They keep whooping his ass. And I mean, they get to the point where, to me, Steve, the next step, because Brad's like on the ground bleeding, all fucked up. And I think they were just about to get like a boulder and smash his skull. But that's when Walker finds them. And he's like, he says some one line. He's like, I guess he was the unlucky one, right? Like, as Brad's dead on the ground, basically.
This was small work in this episode for Walker, man. We didn't even really get to see him do his roundhouses besides the bar scene.
All he had to do was watch some kids do some shitty karate in this episode. That's it. I mean, Brad was doing the heavy lifting and the beating. So, but that's it. Brad gets his ass whooped. And I didn't see, because the way we had to watch this was on YouTube, Steve. So I don't know if there was any like denouement to this where Connie found new love or some shit, but Brad got his.
And this is the second time that C.D. Parker gets hit by a car. The last time we covered Walker, Texas Ranger, he got hit by some cholos that he kicked out of his bar. So, by the time he gets hit by a car again, he's like, I'm a vet at this shit. Okay.
He didn't even hesitate. He was just like, CD's one of them. Like, if I'm in the situation CD is, which I'm not a cop, I'm just there. If I see this level of shit going on, I'm like, I'm out of here. Like, I'm not going to like
Get the strap.
But everyone in this town is way too committed to whatever side of the line that they're on. Brad's got his homies that he can beat a woman's ass. He can have cops sicked on you and beat your ass. But these men are so battered in the same way Connie is, I think, Steve. They're afraid to like turn their back on Brad because we've seen what he will do.
He rules them by fear, and he's their numbers guy. How can they bet on their Longhorn games with Brad in the tank, man?
I miss Brad. Just like at that shit kicker bar, like, man, I miss that guy.
Daytona's coming up. I need to know what the odds are. Turn left, turn left again.
There's only one drink fat enough to quench our thirst, and that's Turbo Sports.
God, genius! The can's upside down.
Don't talk to me like a child. I played Hamlet at Cambridge.
Once again, you've ruined my concentration.
Excuse me. What's my motivation?
When you're thirsty, trust your gut, not some actor. Play the Under the Cap game, and you can win free Sprite or authentic Hill or Hardaway jerseys.
He'll give me this shirt personally since he likes my movies. Penny's my cousin.
But that following year, 1996, SNL is airing season 21, musical guest Coolio with the host Danny Aiello. I like the odd pairing of this, but R.I.P. Danny Aiello. The skit that stood out was Danny Aiello, and I think it's the last skit, is he's like an insurance agent, and he's really trying to push high C in Turkey onto this couple, and it has absolutely nothing to do with anything he's supposed to be there for. That's his like main thing: high C in Turkey. You need some high C in Turkey, and they just get flustered. That's how I know this is probably like the last skit, because they're usually asinine. But I
love that Danny Aiello, but I don't remember him on SNL. But that sounds hilarious. That concept sounds funny. I like that.
And he just gets carried away with. He gets pissed himself. He's like, "Look, you dumb fucking turd! You need high C in Turkey." I don't
Somebody
know.
offers me that, Steve. I'm taking it. I love that offer. You throw out some high C in Turkey, Abby, I'm going to be a happy fellow.
Especially in a Lunchables package. In February 10, 1997, Baywatch is airing season 7, episode 13, A Chance of a Lifetime. Disaster strikes on Stephanie and Tom's honeymoon. But even worse, Stephanie realizes there's a kid missing. She finds Trisha in the cabin and risks her life. Then the sail of the boat falls and lands on Stephanie, crushing her. She dies, and they hold a funeral service for her at Baywatch, and Mitch gives a speech.
God damn, spoiler alert in the fucking description, Steve, but...
Yeah, I try to find betters, but... Hey.
Man, this is later on in the series. Stephanie, the skinny one is what I always called her. She's married to Dr. Tom at this point, which I believe we saw like the beginnings of in the other episode that we covered of Baywatch at some point.
Tom Morello. Yeah. Vince Van Patten from a World Poker Tour.
Yep. He's having a royal flush and getting some puss on this show as a doctor. And they've been married and they're gonna go on a honeymoon. But the thing that I found that stood out to me first in this episode was the theme song is just it's a hitter, Steve. But I love the intro because you get to see some ass, which we all, TNA, I'm sold. And all the hits are there. We got Pam Anderson, we got Yasmin. There's a couple of new faces that I didn't remember. I didn't watch this show like religiously. But Jeremy Jackson, I think he plays Darby or something. I don't remember him. He's like a young face. But there was a woman that was named Tracy Bingham.
Tracy Bingham. I asked you about her before. You had no idea who she was, but she was a 90s hottie.
Whoa.
The one sister on the show, and I really like Neely, Gina Lee Nolan.
Yeah, she was a hottie. But this theme song, dude, like, I'll be ready. It's just fucking got soul. I mean, I don't even know how they came to that for Baywatch. It's a show about fucking lifeguards. Like, why?
And you talked about this guy before on the show, like David Chokachi. I never knew who the fuck he was until we covered Baywatch. I hate his name though. It really just agitates the fuck out of me. Chokachi, like, it's stupid. I hate it.
It sounds like it's some sort of like gay sex act.
Yeah, is David is Wayne Brady gonna have the Chokachi?
Like, I didn't like David Chokachi because I always got him mixed up with the guy from Starship Troopers, Casper Van Dien. I feel like those two guys both. You don't remember that movie?
No. I remember it, but I didn't watch it.
They both have the same energy. They're just like, beautiful white dudes, beautiful beach boy white dudes. And I don't care for David Chokachi much, but the guy's here and he serves a purpose in this episode. But we start off and what's happening is it seems like they're doing some sort of like school at sea program, and Baywatch is these like they're doing a roll call with some of these like, I don't know if they're troubled teens, but they're teenagers and they're going out to sea for like a weekend or some shit.
They've been through some strife in their tender age, and they're going to be brought more strife after this episode. I feel like, damn, it's bad enough these kids have a tough upbringing. Now this shit happened. This is supposed to be like a new lease on life kind of deal. Like, hey, come out and see the sea and enjoy life. See the things that life has to offer. Like, no, or see a life get taken.
Yeah, I think there was a lot of like mental issues that happened as a result of this trip that, this was a complete disaster in so many ways.
And it's basically a retelling of what happened, because we start off with Stephanie basically kind of doing an aside saying like, oh, I wish it was all a dream kind of deal. And they cut to the actual where they're on the boat. And she's talking to the kids like, oh, don't worry, we're not going to die. Well, they're not going to die. She says, oh, we will survive. Well, yeah, they'll survive. And she says that like, I wish we really could. I wish I really could believe that we could make it.
It's all started off so perfect, Steve.
Yeah,
that sunny beach. And we meet the kids, and you're right. This is like a Quentin Tarantino episode where you get like a hint of the end at the beginning, and they sort of like roll you through everything. And they're getting ready for this trip. We see them do the roll call. They do a few, they kind of tell each kid's a basic story of some of the kids, and then we show them loading the boat up. They're going on like a sailing trip, Captain Ron style, and Pam Anderson and David Chokachi show up, and this is Pam Anderson just looking crispy hot, just straight making Matt feel a certain type of way. And they're just, they're delivering supplies. But if I was one of the kids on the boat, I'd be like, can we get her to? We might need a little extra help on deck, if you know what I'm saying.
Well, they do have Neely, and I didn't like the Benjamin kid. He's such a little dweeb. According to the Lieutenant Holden's handbook, we should stick to the suggested items on the list. And if they don't fit into one duffel bag, don't bring it. Man, shut your ass up. Why couldn't the storm? Yeah. Why couldn't the storm take Benjamin? He's never going to get laid.
No, I mean he was just dead weight anyway. But
yeah,
there's there's a stepbrother situation where one of them's like Fabio and the other they're having some issues.
Terry and Cody.
Yeah. So, it's just a lot. I was like, for me, as far as like being one of these Baywatch people, I'd be like, I'm not signing up for this. Like, who wants to do this? A bunch of fucking brats. Like, I can't even get any pussy on this boat.
This is probably one of the worst honeymoons.
Yeah. And like Dr. Tom and fucking Stephanie, they just agree to just give away their honeymoon. I'd be like, like these kids are gonna hear us fucking, I guess. Like, I don't like this isn't right, but they agree. They're good people, whatever. They're fucking nice. They want to help kids. And the actual name of the boat is called The Chance of a Lifetime, Steve. So a little foreshadowing, a little irony here. And they shove off. They take all these fucking fucked up kids, a couple of hotties, a newlywed couple, and Mitch, David Hasselhoff, and they set up on the 7 Seas, and it all seems like it's going to be great. It seems like it's like, what could go wrong here? You got a bunch of fucking lifeguards, you got a nice fucking Malibu fucking sailboat. What's the worst could happen?
Yeah. But Terry and Cody, they get into a fight because their story is that their parents broke up. They divorced, and one is blaming the other's respective parent as far as whose fault it was for the divorce. So they get into a fist fight, and they're supposed to be tending to the brass. Nearly told y'all to shine the brass, and y'all getting into some scuffles and shit. And because of their scuffle, they end up breaking the radio, so they can't communicate with anybody outside of the boat. So by the time Mitch and the gang find out, it's pretty much like, oh, well, fuck.
And that, like, here's what I don't like. The adults are put in this situation where now shit starts getting more intense, right? Like, this is starting to become like a situation where like your life is on the line and you have these kids that you have to take care of and actually depend on, because this is a sailboat, Steve. So you can't just like one man gang this shit. You got to have help and people have to work together and stuff, which was the point of the trip, to teach these kids how to work in a group and all that shit.
Yeah.
The nerd kid's a fucking loss. There's some asthmatic bitch that seems to want to die just because she doesn't want to have her inhaler around that they have to talk to her about. So like, you got the gross crew here with Fabio and his stepbrother, and you've set yourself up to die on this boat. But you can't, like, if I'm in the situation, I'm like, shut the fuck up. We're going to fucking die. Like, I'm going to be a little more like shitty, especially to the brothers, because they fucked the situation up. So I'd be like, man, get in the fucking bathroom. Like, go wash your ass. So do something before I fucking go Brad on you and start whooping that ass.
And they glossed over it because, like, I mean, there was some accountability that should have been had with those two. Like, I mean, if the radio wasn't broken, I mean, Stephanie could have still been there. Like, they could have probably reached out to somebody who could have came in earlier, but because they're two meatheads calling each other's parents ugly and stupid and philandering and all of that shit.
And they're not even throwing an ass whooping on each other. They're like pillow fighting. This ain't even like some real deal shit, Steve. This is some pussy ass fucking Fabio fighting where, it was like they should have had some PJs on and we're having like brownies together. It was like that type of shit. But as all that's happening, Mitch is having a moment with the redhead chick who I think just lost her mother, and Megan, they have a whole thing because he's like, you need a friend and I want to be your friend. It's very kind of weird.
It's creepy. Yeah, I know.
Thank you. I was going to say, but then we cut back to the mainland, if you will. And David Chokichi is just going through his Baywatch life. And one of the homies, one of the surfer guys is like, yo, bro, there's this NARS storm coming. And David Chokichi's like, I haven't heard anything about any rain. And apparently this surfer guy's got a buddy in Baja that knows there's like a hurricane coming or some sort of storm of the century type shit. And unfortunately, it's bearing right down on where the sailboat's going, the SS Hasselhoff. And, fortunately or unfortunately, Chokachi finds out that they're in trouble. He radios the Coast Guard, which is good because the boat can't. And he's concerned because he can't reach the boat by radio. So that's why he initiates all this. But it seems like maybe, Steve, it's just not enough time. He didn't do it. He didn't get enough notice.
And maybe it just wasn't in the cards. Maybe this was her day. We don't
But my
decide.
question is this. I'm not a boatsman. I'm not a naval man, but a nautical man, whatever you want to say. But they see a storm coming. You see it. You're on a boat. And I know this isn't a power boat. You don't got a motor. Maybe you do, but you got sails. And Hasselhoff and Tom are like, the only thing we can do is go straight into the storm. And if I'm just a layman, Steve, so I don't know. But if I'm on the boat, I'm saying, maybe we don't go straight. Maybe we try to go away from the storm and maybe we'll figure out like some other answer, because going right into the teeth of it with fucking the stinky kids in the bottom of the fucking boat here, I don't think we got a recipe for success. And I ain't trying to die with Johnny Virgin and the fucking fucktwit stepbrothers downstairs while the chick has an asthma attack. And it's like, this is my last moments on earth, is fucking hearing some girl like, I'd be like, this is a failure in life. This is complete shittery.
And man, that's a new one to add. And maybe, or they could have just went in reverse, turned the fuck around and save that shit for another day.
That's what I'm saying. Turn the boat even like 45 degrees. Go along the edge of the storm. Don't go into like, what do you think? You're going to fucking come out on the other side with fucking Johnny fucking obesity and fucking chewing his pencil tip. I don't know what the fucking thought was there, but they do that. Maybe that is the best course of action. I don't know. But it's not looking good, Steve, because we watch as like the storm comes in. It goes from like beautiful sunny days, like you're seeing on the boat behind you, to goddamn perfect storm with Mark Wahlberg and George Clooney, where now they're fighting for their lives in these swells, and it ain't looking good. Even with Hasselhoff's great musculature and Dr. Tom's fucking, broad shoulders, they can't fucking do shit. It's basically just hold on for the, for your lives at this point.
Or his epic mullet.
I mean, that was like, I didn't get it. Like Dr. Tom even being able to find love with that haircut, but he's a doctor. So
he's a doctor. There's beaches and bitches at beaches love doctors. I
mean, it's not looking good, Steve.
Bitches love doctors. And bitches in the grocery store, bitches at restaurants, bitches at work. I mean,
bitches love doctor. Steve G's words of advice.
They're rocking and they're rolling, man. And Stephanie's looking for Trisha the Disha. She's in where I think the Menendez brothers, where they were fighting. She's down underneath, and she rescues Trish, but once she gets back, the rocking and rolling leads to the sail falling down on her. And I ain't gonna say instantly because they have parting words. But Stephanie, I have to say this: your reflexes are not good. I feel like a toddler would have handled that better. If it was me, I would have been on some Brian Boitano shit. Fucking the thing fell down and fucking rolled down. I've been fucking like.
I mean, jump in the water, bitch. Like it ain't gonna hurt. She just, I mean, to be honest though, Steve, I think like didn't lightning hit the masts or something? So like that kind of initiated it. So that's got to be kind of shocking, no pun intended. But Stephanie takes one, like they decide to get in a lifeboat. Everybody gets on it. Stephanie, sees that, she's the only good person in this boat and is like, wait, we're missing a child. So nobody else was cognizant of that. They wanted to just jump ship.
Let's get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. And she finds her. Trish basically is responsible for Stephanie's death. But luckily her life is saved. Stephanie takes one to the chops. And And then Hasselhoff and Dr. Tom have to listen to what can only be described as the longest last words of all time. Like, I thought there was like many times where I was like, oh, she's about to die right now. I love you, Mitch. Like, there's just like so many extra words. It's like, damn, bitch. Like, this boat's sinking. Like,
real dude. It's she said a whole paragraph of shit after this heavy ass mast fell on top of her, man.
Obviously, you know, Dr. Tom shows up. He's feeling on her, and he realizes very quickly she's dying. Like, it's like that. Did you ever see the movie Signs?
I've never seen any M. Night Shyamalan Ding Dong movie.
Well, in that movie, there's a character whose wife gets hit by two cars. Or no, I'm sorry. She gets hit by a car and pinned against a tree. So, like, she's dying, but, like, she's being held together by a car and a tree. So, like, she has all this long, like, diatribe of last words. And that's what I think was going on here. Like, they moved it. Tom realized she was dead. I was like, oh, she's going to be like, I love you. And she did that. But then she's like, but wait, Tom, your mother is one of the greatest human beings I've ever, like, this just like keeps going and going. So eventually she passes away. Hasselhoff and Dr. Tom have to just like grieve. They're like, no, in front of all the kids. Like, the kids, they're taking all this in. What a disaster of a trip, you know?
And they go into these Walmart rafts back to land, despite the fact that there's literally dead weight on one of those $20 foldables. But I get, because it's fiction, we have to just like disregard all of that. I don't know, like, when the dead weight actually kicks in. Maybe it's a day or two, but I thought it was instant, or maybe within an hour. Like, oh, this person's dead. This is going to be heavier.
Yeah, like, because they get rescued by a helicopter the day, you know, at the morning after all this, like in the raft. And like, that's kind of what I was thinking. Like, obviously you have this helicopter and they can like use that line to get all the people who are alive, but like you do that for a dead body.
Yeah.
So that's just a logistical question. But obviously Dr. Tom, Mitch, they want to grieve. They want to have a funeral. So they pull that dead weight up, and then we cut to the beach, you know, the parking lot, and everybody's waiting. Everybody's waiting for the survivors to come. The parents, Baywatch, citizens at large. And the helicopter lands, people start getting out. You know, parents are reuniting with their kids. But Yasmin Bleeth, who is the sister of Stephanie in this show, Caroline, I think her name is.
Caroline, yeah.
Her and Stephanie are sisters. She's like, where is she? And Mitch just grabs her and is like, no, don't do it, kid. And then they have this whole thing. She grieves, she cries. You know, this is really hitting the Baywatch community hard, Steve.
We tried to save her. And when we get to the funeral, the EMT trucks or whatever, they're all lined up like a caravan. And ironically, or not, I'm going to say ironically, but Stephanie Holden, the actress who played her, Alexandra Paul, she was actually at this funeral with a blonde wig.
Oh, really? That's awesome.
I guess they were short-staffed, but she said that she was dressed as a blonde to be the girl everyone wanted her to be.
That's hilarious. Well, that's a cool fucking fun fact. And also something I thought was hilarious that my wife pointed out when she just happened to see this part of it. Why is Baywatch doing these insane headshots? Like that picture you're showing behind them, do they take headshots of all their lifeguards?
Maybe for the in memoriam episodes. I don't know.
I'm just saying, like, the organization in the universe of the show, you become a Baywatch lifeguard and then they take like a Maxim magazine picture of you for what? Like, because this obviously existed before the funeral in the universe, Steve. You know, like, they didn't just proper dead body up and take a picture of it.
Pam's got one. The Hoffs got one. They did that in orientation.
Yeah, it's like you get hired and they're like, all right, do a couple of crunches real quick because we got to fucking oil you up and take your headshot real quick. You know,
go to Kmart and come back to us in an hour.
But it's like, dude, I mean, Everybody in the field, they cut. This now it's a montage. Mitch gives a great eulogy. Shit starts getting emotional, and then they cut to like this insane montage where like all the moments she shared with all these different people in Baywatch, and everyone's shedding a tear. Everyone's trying their best to act in like a dramatic way and doing, at least putting some like effort into it. Cut to Pam Anderson, who is just like, that's her emotional phase.
I gotta shoot barbed wire in an hour. Like, when's this shit wrapping up?
Tommy Lee knocked something loose in me last night, and I got to go to the doctor after this. So
it's painful sitting here. And there's good memories in the montage, laughs and titties bouncing, all of that good stuff. What we come to Baywatch for. Wow.
Yeah. I mean, it's really, while it is sort of sad, just a lot of just bombshell moments here, a lot of ass and titties. Stephanie, while not well endowed, was around a lot of well endowed people, and that's really her tribute. Thanks for being around all these hotties.
She was the
den mother of Baywatch. She was like the mom. She was like the stepmom that just takes care of everybody. And
but it wasn't like,
I gotta say though, Stephanie, she could get it. I bet she'll throw some pussy on you. She's probably like very gymnastic in bed. That's what I like to think.
Yeah, because I was gonna say it's not like she's unattractive. It's just that she's got Yasmin Bleeth and Pamela Anderson and fucking Neely around her, dude. So,
but can I say something that broke my heart whenever I found this out today? There's a guy that's like what I always when I watch the show called the old guy, the bald dude. His name's Michael Newman. He's like he's the bald guy with a mustache that's part of the Baywatch crew.
Yeah, he was in the last episode we covered.
And I always was like, that guy's the old guy in Baywatch. That guy's the old guy. Come to find out, Steve, in this episode, like the day this aired, Michael Newman, 40 years old. So that makes me feel shitty about myself. I don't know why, but I just always referred to him as the old man, and now I am the old man. And it's as heartbreaking as the death of Stephanie.
Well, I mean, Dad Bod is the new it, man. But you know who probably wasn't watching this episode of Baywatch on February 10th, 1997, man?
Stephanie, because she's dead.
Probably OJ the Juice Man Simpson. The jury reaches a decision on $25 million in punitive damages. He won the criminal lawsuit. He won that, but he lost in the civil.
I like how you can like murder somebody and they're like, you know what? We didn't get you, but you got to pay for it. Pay some money at least.
Man, that never made sense to me. Like, if somebody did something to your family member, I want that motherfucker under the jail. Yes, like money, like I'll take your money if that's available, if it's on the table. But like, ultimately, like I want you to pay, not monetarily. I want you to pay your time in a cell where you're getting raped by motherfuckers named Bubba in Big Tuna.
I mean, I feel like the Goldmans, the ultimate version of this story is, he would do he spoke out for his son because this guy fucking lost a son just because his son was fucking this hot chick and just was like caught in the middle of this. Right. So like he would always be on news. He was like grief stricken. And you remember that, like him crying on TV and just like, you could see this dude was all fucked up. Like if he would have just found OJ and just this family did what the chicks did to Brad in Walker, Texas Ranger. I mean, what an ending to the story. We never got that, but I just wonder something I always wonder about OJ, now, because I feel like it's gone so long that, and maybe this was always the case, that he flipped something. Like sometimes you tell a lie and it almost becomes truth in your head after a certain point. Like there's moments like you tell something and I feel like OJ reached that level. Like, do you think you think he killed the bitch? Obviously.
I think he did, man.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm just establishing that. So like in your head, do you think now like that he's past it, he's not going to jail for it, and he's living his whatever best life is now, that he goes to bed at night and is like, damn, I killed that. Like, does he even think he killed her, or is he like caught in some like lie that he's believing in himself, basically?
The man, before even all of this, the man said he's not black, and he stood on that shit. So the fact that like this black man thinks he's not black, I'm pretty sure he probably has that thought process, man.
Man, dude, what a wild fucking story. What, like, that's got to be. We had a lot of fucked up shit happen in our lifetimes, but as far as just like weird, bizarre shit like this, Cosby shit like that, this is some of the most craziest shit. But hey, OJ, don't fuck with the man. God forbid you get on his bad side.
For real. And, you know, Rod Goldman Sr., his mustache always bothered me. You're not Raleigh Finger, sir, but RIP to your son. And on that same day in 1997, Blur releases their album, Blur. I'm not a Blur fan, but I am a fan of the song. Song number 2, I believe it's called. And that's the only thing about Blur that I know of. You know, woo! That shit.
I mean, aren't they like in the Gorilla? Didn't they start the Gorillas? Like, isn't that also
that's a
sort
part
of
of
their legacy?
Part of the Gorillas, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you this. I remember buying this CD. I own the CD. The only good song on the CD is the one that Steve is referencing. But man, that one song took over for a very short period of time. And I got to say, as far as songs go, a great movie trailer song or commercial song, you know, for that kind of thing, great. But it's not, you know, it is what it is.
I think that was used a lot, not just in trailers or like promos, whatever. Probably mid to late 90s until Drowning Pool took over. And I feel like everything that came out around that time, it was click, click, boom, this summer. That was used a lot. But
click, click, boom was Saliva, Steve.
Saliva, Drowning Pool. Yeah. Anything metal after what System of a Down's Toxicity, I was checked out anyways, man. February 10th, 1999, Iron Maiden announces that lead singer Bruce Dickinson and guitarist Adrian Smith have rejoined the band. Oh, good for them. Nobody cares. But any callbacks, honorable mentions, takeaways, Matthew?
One thing we didn't talk about that came out, I think the same year as Billy Madison, or maybe the year after, was a movie called The Quick and the Dead.
Yeah.
Fucking dope ass Western movie from the 90s, directed by Sam Raimi, Gene Hackman, Russell Crowe, young Leonardo DiCaprio, Sharon Stone, I believe. Just a lot of like 90s actors. I think Maid Marian, that black dude's in it too. I forget his name, from Requiem for a Dream and For Everything. I mean, he's in every fucking thing.
Oh, Keith David.
Keith David, yeah, he's in the shit. Great Western. It's my second favorite Western next to the movie Tombstone with Kurt Russell. So really? This was a banger. I mean, Django is a dope ass Western movie, but I don't know. It's up there too. But this, as far as 90s Western movies go, like from my childhood, this was a big one. This movie's got style. It's got that Sam Raimi, like crazy camera work and shit. It's good. Check it out.
Man,
what about you, Steve?
Well, cameo alert. In 1990, 227's airing the episode Do Not Pass Go Part 2. It's continued from the previous episode. And Luther Vandross makes an appearance in 1991 or 92. Fresh Prince of Bel-Air is airing the episode Ill Will. Will has to have his tonsils removed. And Milton Berle shows up in a dream sequence along with Bert from The Love Boat, the guy who played in Love Boat. And also in 1995, Family Matters is airing the episode The Gun. And I kind of wanted to cover this, but we just covered Family Matters about 2 weeks ago. But a bitch got shot. And
click, boom.
For real, it got real on this episode because the girl that got shot was played by Trina McGee, who was more famously known for playing Angela, Sean's girlfriend and fiance from Boy Meets World. And she was one of my 90s crushes, man.
Yeah, for sure. So hot.
Fun fact, I actually saw her in person when I came to Atlanta. The first time I came to Atlanta in summer of 98, man, it was a part of this NAACP like youth program where different people compete and different categories, science, music. People would do one of the guys that came with us from the Toledo chapter, he had a drum solo and he was a badass. My thing was video, and I did like a little documentary, and it wasn't good, but I was just glad to make it to like the nationals. And one of the presenters was Trina McGee, and she was gorgeous in person. And I'll never forget the co-presenter with her was Carl Kanai, who was famous during the 90s. He made a lot of urban clothing in the early 90s and throughout. But Carl Kanai, we had never known what he looked like. We just knew about his name and his clothing. And when he started to talk, he opened up his mouth and he was missing a tooth. Like, actually his tooth was chipped, and it was so prevalent, like, because you could see it on the big screen. Yeah. And all of the kids laughed. And Trina McGee standing next to him, and like you could just tell, like, she felt bad because he was talking and people started laughing. And like throughout the presentation, before they give this award, you could just see like he was getting sad, man. And it's like, damn,
oh my God.
Damn, you deserve better, bro. But yeah,
that's what happens when you talk in front of a group of teenagers, Steve. Like that, you're up for that. You're gonna get that, and that's hilarious, though. But I mean, fuck it. I'd be like, fuck you, kids.
Man, I bought some of his clothes, man. If that helps.
There you go. That's dope. I didn't know that. I didn't know you did that. That's fucking sweet.
Yeah, man. After freshman year, summer of '98. And, I wasn't prepared, but, I was good enough to, I think they were just amazed that a kid was willing to do like a documentary. And this was 90s technology, didn't have a lot to work with. Things weren't nonlinear, but it was a good experience. First, like I said, first time going to Atlanta. And, please like, share, subscribe, and comment. Tell us where your mama lives. Please check out Over the Culture, Crushgasm, B3, F Podcast, and Don't Worry B Movies. And I hate to leave out our friends, Pop Culture Hootenanny. They give us so much love, man. Steve G and Matt G, what happened in the 90s, bitch.